Building on its tradition of fostering informed dialogue and constructive engagement, this year's dialogue brings together policymakers, scholars, diplomats, and thought leaders from across continents to deliberate on the evolving dynamics of great power politics, regional connectivity, and emerging technologies. The dialogue aims to explore how nations can navigate uncertainty, harness cooperation, and safeguard peace amid shifting geopolitical and algorithmic frontiers. Ladies and gentlemen, we would now begin today's program with welcome remarks by President IPRI, Lieutenant General Majid Ehsan. Lieutenant General Majid Ehsan is a retired 3-star general of the Pakistan Army with over 35 years of distinguished service, having varied command, staff, and instructional assignments. As a Lieutenant General, he has been President National Defense University, Islamabad, and Commander 4 Corps, Lahore. He holds multiple advanced degrees in defense and strategic studies from Pakistan and Egypt. I would request President IPRI to formally open the proceedings of the Margalla Dialogue 2025.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Deputy Prime Minister of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Mr. Ishaq Dar, Ambassador Inamul Haq, Chairman Board of Governors, Islamabad Policy Research Institute, Excellencies, distinguished guests, participants, Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome. On behalf of Islamabad Policy Research Institute, I wish to extend my gratitude to you all for sparing your precious time for the 6th iteration of Margalla Dialogue. This forum has carved out a niche for itself as the leading security and development dialogue in the country ever since its inauguration session of 2019. As a think tank that focuses on practical, policy-oriented research, this dialogue is a veritable cornucopia of thoughts that after going through the crucible of debates and discussion would surely fructify into actionable recommendations for the policymakers. What makes such fora most valuable are the vignettes that are thrown on emerging global and regional realities by an eclectic mix of practitioners and academics. We feel that even if one recommendation or ideas of these participants finds resonance with policymakers, the purpose of this dialogue would be solved. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in an era of narratives where the speed of disinformation exceeds the march of truth and facts by a wide margin. This makes the uncovering of truth through facts and data a vital undertaking to counter false narratives. A false narrative or a specious argument is more lethal than bombs and missiles, as it blindsides the rational actors from the intended outcomes of the decisions taken out of ignorance. In the marketplace of ideas, the stronger truth ultimately survives, and it is therefore incumbent upon the intellectuals to sift the truth from the falsehood, beating the tyranny of echo chambers of lives through logic, reason, and unbiased scholarly judgment. Everyone in this social media-driven age is confronted with his or her Copernicus movement. Inability to seize that movement and divulge the truth deprives the individuals as well as the mankind of the fruits of that truth. The main theme of this dialogue, that is the future of global order, cooperation or confrontation, has therefore been deliberately chosen to focus on the emerging realities out of geopolitical competition, as well as the natural phenomena like climate change, pandemics, floods, and earthquakes. The dialogue has been structured in 4 normal and 2 special sessions. Our Forum A will be dealing with great power politics and the future of international security, which would help us understand the emerging challenges and their possible solutions at international level. The global shift towards multipolarity driven by US-China competition and the rise of regional powers like Russia and China threatens to unravel the current liberal international order. This evolving order is marked by the 3D framework: democratization, demilitarization, and de-dollarization, championed by the Global South through initiatives like BRICS and SEO. The instability of multipolar world and the erosion of multilateralism portend a world in flux where UN-based universalism is on retreat, forcing several countries to seek refuge in either bandwagoning with the global power or alliances with influential regional groupings. Forum B is divided into two sessions. It deals with regional security, connectivity, and economy, and would focus on identification of the common areas for cooperation in order to forge a common outlook on regional integration. The integration of South and Central Asia into a large regional bloc, leveraging geography to promote trade, connectivity, and partnership is the main objective of this session. Forum C will discuss the algorithmic war, how AI is redefining influence and security, and would deepen our understanding of the potentials, risks, and possibilities inherent in the use of artificial intelligence. This aspect, like global governance and regulation of AI, AI's transformative impact on the media, and the impact on warfare would also be analyzed in this forum. Forum D will debate on Pakistan's soft power, social cohesion, and internal security dynamics, analyzing multiple dimensions of soft power like culture, history, literature, and tourism potential of the country would be discussed. Similarly, several socio-political and economic factors impacting social cohesion would also be discussed in this sector. Pakistan's internal security dynamics and the possible way ahead to address the vulnerabilities would also be covered in this forum by renowned international and national academics, media experts, and internal security practitioners. As we also have two special forums for which our international law and economic security chairs would moderate, featuring international law and economic experts. The Economy Forum would discuss trade and tariff wars at global level and their impact upon international and regional peace and security. The preference for regionalism instead of multilateralism is actually contributing towards deglobalization of economics, which in this interdependent world does not augur well for the global peace and prosperity. There is a need for strengthening the global trade regulatory institutions like WTO for a rule-based commerce untrammeled by trade wars. International Law Forum also discusses a very important issue of populism that is eroding the international law and democratic freedoms. The illiberal populism that is exploiting the human grievances generated out of iniquitous economic order that serves the interest of the rich is targeting the rule-based global order defined by international law. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sure that the comprehensive coverage of the aspects of geopolitics, security, technology, soft power, economy, and international law impacting global as well as human security would elicit effusive discussions by the participants who are attending this dialogue. With this, I would now request the Honorable Chief Guest of today's session, Deputy Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Mr. Ishaq Dar, to please deliver his opening address. Thank you. Please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasool al-Kareem. President, IPRI, Lieutenant General Retired Majid Ehsan, members of Board of Governors of IPRI, members of the diplomatic community, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum and very good morning. It is indeed a great pleasure to be present at the 6th Margalla Dialogue. I would like to commend the Islamabad Policy Research Institute known as IPRI, for organizing this timely event, which is being attended by some of the best experts in the arena of international relations. I can see Mr. Inaugural Haq, the Chairman Board of Governors. I can see Jalil Abbas Jilani Saab, so many former NSA. So I think this is the very timely event, and I must compliment. The theme of this dialogue, the future of global order, cooperation or confrontation, is extremely relevant in the backdrop of the erosion of multilateral values, the increase in unilateral and bloc politics, and trade wars, as well as new and emerging challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, in my recent statements on multilateral forums, including UN Security Council, I have repeatedly warned that humanity is facing unprecedented challenges that threaten to disrupt global peace, security, and development. This is no exaggeration. I honestly believe that this is the position we are facing as of now. The very notion of multilateralism and international cooperation, especially that represented by the United Nations, is being questioned by many skeptical voices and current global conflicts. Multilateral institutions are weakening, and I mean it, they are weakening. People or countries who accept their resolutions and implement fine, those who don't. Still, there is hardly any mechanism where meaningful action can be taken against them. The UN Security Council remains deadlocked by political divisions. There is a strong perception, backed by the examples of Palestine and Jammu and Kashmir, that the Security Council is failing to fulfill its primary responsibility to maintain international peace and security. Global and even domestic economic inequalities are deepening owing to the inherent deficiencies in the global financial architecture. Ladies and gentlemen, debt distress has overtaken more than 100 countries, negatively impacting the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, which the UN has been eyeing for years now. Developing countries like Pakistan continue to face the brunt of climate change and crisis, despite contributing negligible in the emissions, but we remain one of the top 10 most vulnerable countries on the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, in this backdrop, cooperation, not confrontation, should be the hallmark of our international approach. That is why Pakistan remains a firm believer in the enduring relevance and importance of multilateralism. As the world's most representative multilateral institution, the United Nations uniquely placed to address global challenges. We support the need for the universal and consistent adherence to the fundamental principles of the UN Charter, including the self-determination of people, non-use or threat of use, and the pacific settlement of disputes. After years, the unanimous adoption of Resolution 2788 during Pakistan's presidency of the UN Security Council, which I chaired in July earlier this year, demonstrates Pakistan's commitment to multilateralism and the peaceful settlement of disputes, respect for the UN Charter, and effective implementation of Security Council resolutions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we must strengthen multilateral institutions, especially the UN, while adapting them to address contemporary and future challenges. During Pakistan's presidency, we also held a debate as to strengthening of the bond between UN and OIC, which is the second largest multilateral fora on the globe. It is hard to imagine a world without such institutions. In the same spirit, Pakistan remains supportive of other initiatives aimed at increasing multilateral cooperation, including the Global Governance Initiative of President Xi of China, to which Pakistan is a signatory, which seeks to make the global governance system more responsive to the needs of developing countries and to address the common challenges. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to strengthen multilateralism, all states, small or large, must accept and respect the principles of UN Charter and international law. To break the vicious cycle of poverty and rising global inequality, we must confront head-on the imbalances in international economic relations. Neither the SDGs nor climate goals can be achieved without international cooperation and strict implementation mechanism. Concrete actions are needed to help developing countries trapped in liquidity crisis and debt distress by ensuring adequate concessional finance, rechanneling unused SDRs, securing a sustained increase in the lending capacity of multilateral development banks, and funding the International Development Association, IDA. The international financial architecture must be reformed to promote development and global financial equity. Likewise, United Nations, including Security Council, require urgent reforms for which Pakistan is fully supportive and actively participating. Ladies and gentlemen, the world trading system must also be redesigned to promote sustainable development. Access to advanced technologies, especially digital technologies, must be equitable, accessible, and non-discriminatory. We also need enhanced global climate action and international cooperation to mitigate the negative impacts of climate change based on the established principle of equity and common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as the world gathers in Brazil for COP30, the developed countries must meet their climate finance commitments with a balanced focus on adaptation, mitigation, and loss and damage. I'm happy to note that the sixth Margalla dialogue will focus on many of these issues, including the need for greater regional connectivity. Located at the crossroads of South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East, Pakistan is endowed with rich mineral and natural resources and human resources and enormous economic potential. I could see a slide there, a board which is indicating Pakistan has copper, lithium, and other rare earth materials. I think this is very meaningful. We are determined to enhance regional connectivity and increase bilateral and multilateral development partners for socio-economic uplift. We remain determined to capitalize on these inherent advantages for the prosperity and betterment of our people and our region by prioritizing geoeconomics as one of the cardinal pillars of our engagement with international partners. We remain open to engaging with all partners and institutions to achieve the desired goals. I hope that the discussions at this forum will also help us explore new pathways for cooperation towards a more peaceful, stable, and prosperous future. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude by wishing you all a very engaging and productive time during the course of this dialogue. Have a very good day, and thank you, Pakistan Zindabad.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, for your insightful address. I would now request Chairman, Board of Governors, IPRI, Ambassador Inamul Haq, to please present memento to our chief guest. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our inaugural session. We will now have a short tea break and will resume at 12:30 p.m. with our working sessions for the dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, we will resume with our first working session at 12 p.m.
Islamabad Policy Research Institute is a premier national security research think tank of the country, enjoying the singular distinction of being the only think tank of the country, ranked 74th among the government-affiliated think tanks of the world. It is affiliated with the National Security Division in the Prime Minister's Secretariat and is known for its policy-oriented research at national as well as international level. The institute was raised in 1999 and has been led by accomplished academics and practitioners in the past. IPRI is guided by a board of governors comprising an eclectic mix of academics, practitioners and high-ranking ex-officio members. The board regularly holds its meeting and provides policy oversight and guidance to IPRI's research and advocacy efforts. IPRI has a lean and agile organizational structure meant to provide policy guidance, research outputs, narrative building, editorial help, and human resource support for effective and efficient output of the institute.
The Islamabad Policy Research Institute, IPRI, is Pakistan's preeminent think tank, promoting Pakistan's image and interests in the battle of ideas in an age of turbulence and transformation. IPRI is guided by a diverse and distinguished board of governors comprising practitioners, policy makers, academicians, scholars and intellectuals. As IPRI pursues advocacy and research, the BOG provides invaluable support, oversight and guidance for the work of IPRI.
Today, IPRI consists of the Research and Analysis Department, Advocacy and Communication Department, along with Chair International Law and Chair Economic Security to achieve its objectives.
The Research and Analysis Branch is the analytical nucleus of the Islamabad Policy Research Institute. The branch drives the Institute's mission to produce data-driven, non-partisan, and actionable policy research across a wide range of traditional and non-traditional security issues.
The vision of IPRI is to spearhead a qualitative change in research and policy industry through data, innovation, and technology. The mission of IPRI is to inform policy and drive change through research and dialogue on topics of contemporary relevance across all facets of national security.
The goals and philosophy of the Institute are original, non-partisan, collaborative research and provide actionable policy input. Project Pakistan's narrative at the global stage. Make IPRI a globally recognized and credible think tank.
The Administration and Finance Department supports all in their efficient functioning, ensure the availability of optimum logistic support and requisite finances during all undertaking of IPRI. More so, carry out coordination within and outside the IPRI.
At the heart of Research and Analysis Department lies a commitment to methodological rigor, innovation, and strategic foresight.
IPRI's research is structured around both thematic and geographic priorities. The 4 thematic domains include international relations and international law, strategic studies, governance and public policy, and economic security. The geographic span of our research focus is divided into 6 regions: Americas and Europe, South Asia, Middle East, Gulf and Turkey, Russia and Central Asia, East Asia and Far East, and Africa. Our research products include policy briefs, books, monographs, and peer-reviewed journal articles. IPRI's research products go